Lectures, we are going to be talking about the different bidding strategies that are available to us, and there are currently 3, and know that they sort of switch these every now and then and they rename them, but these are definitely true and tried ones that have been in here for as long as I can recall, at least 10 years. So even if there might be a couple of additional ones, these 3 are still going to be true to know about, and there is one clear winner in here that you should know about. But there are going to be 2 automated bidding strategies, that is the target ROAS, the maximized clicks, and then one manual bidding strategy, that is the manual CPC. We're going to go through all of these 3 ones, what they are, if I recommend them or not, and in what scenarios I recommend what. And we're going to start off with the target ROAS automated bidding strategy. So the target ROAS is a bidding strategy that uses the PPC model. Now PPC stands for pay per click, which means that no matter how many times that your ad is actually shown to someone, you never have to pay for that. You only pay when someone actually clicks on your ad, which is one of the greatest things about Google Ads, that you're only paying for actual results. Doesn't mean that someone is going to buy your product, but it at least means that someone is interested enough to click on the ad and check out what you have to offer. Now, target ROAS stands for return on ad spend, and it means how much money am I getting back based on the money that I am spending on ads. And there's a very easy calculation to figure this out. You take the revenue, that is the amount of money that you've made from the ads, and divide it with the cost of the ads. So let's take an example. Let's say that you've generated $500 from your ads, from selling your product using the shopping campaign. And let's say that in order to generate those $500, you have paid $100. Well, that means that you have a return on ad spend that is 5 or 500%, if you will. So that means for every $100 that you put into your ads budget, you're getting $500 back. Return on ad spend. That is the return you're getting from your ad spend. Another way to talk about this is that you're getting $5 for every $1 spent. That's usually how you converse about the return on ad spend. Now, using the target ROAS is an automated bidding strategy, meaning that you select what number that you want to aim for, and then Google does its best to actually get that return on your ad spend. Now, the tricky part here is that there is an optimal target ROAS for every product, because every product is going to have a different volume of searches and it's going to have a different cost associated with it. And you need to make sure that you balance those in order to get the results you're looking for. So let's have a more practical example. Let's look at this diagram here. To the left, we have the actual revenue that we're making, and then down below, we have the target return on ad spend. Now, there is going to be an optimal point where you're getting the most revenue for the target ROAS that you're setting. Again, this is going to depend on how much searches it has, that is the volume, and the cost associated with those specific keywords for that product. And remember, the keywords themselves, they are automated. So as we can see, the search volume is falling. We have the highest search volume at 1, and we have the lowest search volume at 11. Now, naturally, if we set our target ROAS at 1, we're going to get too low quality of a traffic. We're going to be able to show our ads to a massive amount of people, but the problem is they're not going to be so targeted, which means it's going to be low quality traffic, which are most likely not going to lead to sales at all, which is why you can see that the actual revenue being made at 1 is very low. Tons of traffic, very little quality, they're not interested in actually buying. And the opposite is true at the other end. So let's say you put a target ROAS of 11. Well, that means that there are going to be very, very, very few people out there when you're targeting your ROAS at 11. Volume goes down, so there won't be enough traffic to actually target in order to start getting results. And that is also why the revenue is going to the rock bottom when your target ROAS is at 11. So the optimal volume plus quality of that traffic is going to be somewhere in between. Let's say 6 in this case. Naturally, is going to be different from every single product and every single country that you target, but we don't know what the target ROAS is going to be. So where should you start when you're using the target ROAS bidding strategy? Well, you should start off by finding your break-even ROAS, meaning looking at what ROAS are you breaking even. You're not making a profit, but you are not losing money using this strategy. In order to understand what your break-even ROAS is, we need to take the entire calculation into mind here. So that means that we need to understand what our profit margin is, and when we understand what our profit margin is, we can have a deeper look at what our ROAS needs to be. So the break-even ROAS formula is you take 1 and you divide it with your profit margin. So let's say that you know that your profit margin is 20% because you have cost of goods sold, you have the shipping cost, you have maybe manufacturing cost, you have a bunch of different costs associated with it, so you're only getting a 20% profit margin. So you're going to take 1 divided by 0.2, which is going to mean that your target ROAS for your break-even starting point is going to be 5, meaning if you manage to get a return on ad spend at 5, you will be breaking even. And if you had a higher profit margin, let's say that your profit margin was at 50%, then you would take 1 divided by 0.5 and you would have a break-even return on ad spend at 2, which of course means that it's much easier to start your target ROAS at 2 and then start increasing it depending on the results that you're getting. Now, when you're looking at your profit margins, generally the way to calculate this, if you're having 1 to 10 products, is looking at the average profit margin of those products and using that calculation, because we don't always know what people are buying from our store. But if we only have a couple of products, we can have the average profit margin. Now, if we have a lot of products in our store, I define that as 10 plus products, but that could be hundreds or thousands of products. You need to look at the average order value and calculate the profit margin from there. Average order value is how much on average are people spending on your site, not what products are selling, because you have so many products. And from there, you can start looking at your profit margins and then attach that to the target ROAS formula. Now, you might already have figured this out, but this also means that not every product on Google Ads is going to be a success or even is going to work. Honestly, a lot of products won't work, and the only way to find out which will and which won't is by running the test and see what the data reveals. And the reason for that is simple. Let's say that we have this product in front of us. Let's say that it has a 20% profit margin, so 5 in order. But let's say that the ROAS, you're just getting less and less traffic and you're just making less and less money.